Hey everybody, hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I just bought a new Lenovo IdeaPad 320 from Best Buy on Black Friday. It was one of their Doorbusters for $279.99. It was the hardware for that price was pretty impressive. It had an AMD A12 processor, 7th gen model, so a new processor featuring wireless AC Wi-Fi, a new 3.1 Type-C USB port, and a fully functional shift key, and multi-touch support trackpad. So the whole reason I pointed out the shift key was because I was going to show you guys the last Black Friday laptop we got from Best Buy. It was also a Lenovo IdeaPad. It was the 310. And the 310 came with this trackpad with two buttons separated from the trackpad, and the trackpad doesn't click, so this was not multi-touch supported. And the shift key is horrendous. You can't type on this laptop. This laptop did come with 12 gigs of DDR4 at the time, wireless AC Wi-Fi, and an AMD A10 processor. So at that time, for the buy, it was also expensive. I mean, not expensive, a great deal. And actually, if memory serves me correctly, I didn't get this one at Best Buy. I think I got it at Office Depot online or something like that. And the screen here is a glossy screen. You can see my reflection in it. And on the new laptop, we have a matte screen. So that's a big difference there. The screen probably looks better on the older one. It looks to be a higher quality screen altogether. The new screen looks super cheap, which is one of the cons about this new laptop. If you look at the reviews, you'll see that most of the complaints are aimed towards the display. But we just really needed to type, okay? And this old 310 was not having it. Every time we had to press a shift key on this side, we'd page up, and then we'd be somewhere up the page typing, somewhere we didn't need to be typing. That was horrendous. And being a brand new computer I bought last year, I just kind of assumed that it was going to support multi-touch, but it didn't. So that was a letdown. So overall build quality, though, I'd say the old one kind of feels sturdier than the new one. The new one's got this cheap plastic. Obviously the old one's just a cheap black plastic too, but it just feels sturdier. This new is a brushed aluminum plastic, trying to look like a MacBook or something. It's just cheap plastic. So this is something else I wanted to show you guys. So the old laptop came with 12 gigs of RAM. The new one only came with 8. So obviously I'm gonna swap those sticks over. And so these laptops both only have one stick of RAM that you can upgrade or move or remove, whatever you want to do with it. The other stick of RAM is a 4 gig, and it's soldered to the board. Cannot be removed. The old A10 laptop, or IdeaPad 310, had convenient access doors for the hard drive and for the RAM. So I did not have to take the entire backside of the laptop off to get to those. That's a good thing. Good job, Lenovo, good job. But they trashed the shift key. So we get the new laptop with the good shift key so we can actually compute again. And they got rid of the easy access upgrade doors. I guess they thought we wouldn't need to upgrade with a AMD A12 and 8 gigs of RAM. But this thing came with a slow old school 1 terabyte hard drive installed in it. And I say slow, but that's relative to the user. The 1 terabyte drive probably for most users would have been acceptable, but I thought it was a little slow. So I went ahead and swapped my solid state drive over. I brought the 8 gig stick of RAM that came in this one. I moved it over here, took the 4 gig stick of RAM out, swapped them over. I think they're the same speed. They're both DDR4. I'm pretty sure they're the same speed. I compared them before moving them. And the RAM is under this weird case thing, so I'll just remove that so you can see it. I'll also just go ahead and pop this up so you can see the soldered RAM in the board. There's the soldered RAM straight onto the board. Cannot be upgraded, but that's fine. That leaves you what, 16? These can come in 16 gigs now. So if you really wanted to throw a 16 gig in there, you could have 20 gigs of RAM on this thing. That's more than enough. That's probably overkill, given that this is not a gaming laptop, so you're not going to need that much RAM, really. I probably didn't even need to bring the 8 gig stick over, to be honest. Once you move the solid state drive in, that is the end all to the upgrades. That's pretty much all you need to get your computer running good. You can see the 2-cell battery that's embedded can't be removed. The old one had a battery that's also embedded and can't be removed. I believe it was a 3-cell. It didn't hold charge for long. You'll see some bad reviews on that. I mean, that's what you're going to get when you have a 3-cell battery and a 2-cell battery. In comparison, most laptops come with a 6-cell battery. Here's our back plate to the new laptop. The entire thing you have to take off. Just this cheap gray plastic deal. Once I removed all the screws, I went along the sides and popped loose the top part from the bottom part all the way down the sides. Didn't have any issues except for the back next to the hinges. It was real tight back there, and I actually broke those two cheap little plastic things. So I broke one here. I started in the back because once I removed all the screws, this was the loosest part to get some leverage under. So I started back here, and it got real tight right in here, and I broke one here, and it got tight over here, and I broke one here. So when you guys, if you guys plan on doing this yourselves, just be careful in the back. These all went fine, just popping them up with the tool. Didn't snap any. Maybe I got lucky, I don't know. I'm not the most patient person when I'm just trying to take a cover off. At worst, it's just when I put it back together, it might be a little spongy. It may not look super tight, but it's got a screw there and a screw there, so it's going to be held on regardless. And that's about it. The DVD drive I pulled out, but I didn't have to. Obviously, this computer and that one over there don't have any screws or screws under the keyboard that need to be removed so you can get the back off. A lot of old school laptops have screws under the keyboard, and you got to pull the keyboard out first. Obviously you don't have to do that here because the keyboard's like recessed. It's kind of like built into the top of the laptop here, so you can't pull the keyboard out from the front. Same with the old one. Keyboard's same design. I did notice they moved the power button. So there's our power button on the old one, and here's our power button on the new one, and it's obviously built into the keyboard. So if the keyboard ever gets water damage or anything and the keyboard quits working, chances are that power button's also going to quit working. And you may think you've completely busted your laptop because your power button won't turn on the laptop anymore, but there's a good chance you might have just crapped your keyboard out, and if you replace your keyboard, that power button's going to work again and you'll be okay. I worked with the 1 terabyte drive on this one for a little while when I first turned it on, before I swapped over the solid state drive, just to see how it performed with the 1 terabyte drive. And that's why I said for most users it's probably acceptable, because I found it to be pretty peppy, a little slow here and there, but for the most part, the A12 was doing the legwork and it was still running pretty smoothly. The Windows update did have a total crap issue on both of these, actually. But this one resolved itself pretty quickly because it had the solid state in it. So it kind of, I think it cleaned itself up. This one, here, I'll just turn it on real quick so we can see the build number on Windows. But when it was trying to update to the latest build of 1703, the creators update, it got stuck in this loop where it couldn't update itself, and it just kept trying and failing, which was horrible. No one should have to experience that. And let's see here. So we're running 16.299.64. So it was the upgrade from the previous build to 1709 16.299.64. It had this horrible Windows update cycle that it was stuck in, and it didn't matter if you ran the troubleshooter, didn't matter if you rebooted your computer, didn't matter none of those things I was normally doing that fixed the problem. Obviously the first thing you're going to do is just try Windows Update again to see if it'll work. And then it didn't work, and okay, and then you start thinking, okay, I actually need to do something. So you use the troubleshooter, and that takes a little while. All these things take time, by the way, especially with the terabyte drive. It's not, these aren't fast processes like the solid state drive. So you just kind of wait around, and then after you waste hours of your life trying to update Windows, you start searching the internet for issues to resolve that. And I found, and it actually worked, I found that if you turn off your Wi-Fi after it downloads the update, which was also, by the way, it was called Feature Update to Windows 1703. Let's see if I could find it. It's not going to be included in this one because the way I installed this version of Windows on this new solid state drive. So anyway, it was called a Feature Update for Windows 10 version 1709. Feature Update. That's the ones that take you to Creators Build, or it's like apparently a large update, and they usually sometimes they'll recommend you going to download that Windows Upgrade Assistant tool and using that to install. And I believe I did do that. Let's see. No, I didn't have to do that. But I did. I almost went that far. I think the first time I did try to use it, didn't work. If I remember, sorry, I wish I could remember for you guys, but I tried to install that stupid update so many times, it's hard to remember. I think I did try to use that Windows Upgrade Assistant tool, and I believe it failed also. And later, when it was just in the regular Windows Update process, right here, after it got done checking and it found the update and it downloaded the update and it started installing the update, that's when you turn off your Wi-Fi. As soon as it's done downloading that feature update, turn off your Wi-Fi, because at that point it's installing the update, it's already downloaded it, it doesn't need your Wi-Fi anymore. And that's what I found on Google when you start searching trying to fix that problem, was that was the case. So I figured, why not? It's already installing, I'll give it a shot. So I turned off the Wi-Fi, and sure enough, it actually installed. It took forever for it to install, but it installed. It didn't have an error. It took way too long on that old school 5400 RPM terabyte hard drive. The new solid state drive I put in, I went ahead and used Windows Media Creation Tool and loaded their most current version of Windows 10 on here. which I'd recommend anybody do. You'll get it at the same place you go to get the Windows Upgrade Assistant. Just below the Upgrade Assistant, it'll say Windows Media Creation Tool. And you can just download that, follow the instructions, create the flash drive, which needs to be formatted in FAT32, by the way, because mine was an NTFS, and it took me 2 or 3 failed installs to finally figure out what was going on. So if we type in Windows Upgrade Assistant into Google, let's see what we could find. I'm going to click on the very first link. Sorry, let's fix the phone. Windows 10 Update Assistant, blah, blah, blah. We're going to roll it out automatically. However, if you want to update it yourself, to run the tool yourself, follow the instructions on the Windows 10 software download. Take that link, follow it here. This right here is the Update Assistant. When you click Update Now, it will download that program. It'll start trying to do that for you. Right here is your Create Windows 10 installation media. That's what I would go ahead and do if I were you. That way, I don't know what version of Windows 10 you guys have on your laptops, what version they came with, but if you ever have to revert back to that, you're going to have to suffer through all the updates all over again. You're going to have to, because you're going to revert to this old version of Windows 10, and then you're going to run Windows Update, and it's going to find all these versions that it has to update to. But if you use this installation media tool, it's going to install the Fall Creators Update at the most current build, which is pretty sweet. You won't have to spend hours doing updates after reinstalling Windows. So that's pretty cool. I would recommend doing that. And it's obviously coming straight from the Microsoft Windows site, so you don't have to worry about it being bootlegged or pirated software. It's legit software. And I believe I covered more than I wanted to cover. I really just wanted to show you guys the differences between the two Black Friday Doorbuster deals on the old ideapad 310 and the new ideapad 320. The 320 is just overall better with the multi-touch support trackpad, full shift key so you can actually type again, and I guess for some people USB 3.1 might be a big selling thing. I don't know, not for me. For me it was just the trackpad and the shift key. The AMD going from the A10 to the A12, that was just a plus. Not necessarily, I didn't really need that or wasn't looking for that. But hey, I'll take it. What I really wanted was the shift key back. I got the shift key. This was unexpected, which was awesome. Multi-touch support. So I've said that a few times now. Just real quick, just in case nobody knows what in the world I'm talking about when I say that. Let me just open a few things. And that's the deal that we got from MacBook Pros, which is awesome. You can take 3 fingers and swipe up, and it expands all your apps or programs, whatever you want to call them, so you can see which one you want, and you can touch it, and it'll pull up that one in the front. And if you take 3 fingers and if you swipe to the left or to the right, it calls it a fast switch, and it just switches through the programs. If I leave my 3 fingers on there, you can see I'm sliding them around to pick which one I want. You can use 4 fingers, and you can set that to something. It's currently set to open the Action Center. That's why the Action Center just pulled out from the side. 3 fingers up does that. I think 3 fingers down takes us to the desktop, gets rid of everything, which is pretty awesome. 2 fingers scrolling around will just scroll around a window like you want it to. Like if we went to Google, you see 2 fingers just up and down real easy. You could even go left and right if there was like a bottom scroll bar if it was a really wide page. And 2 finger to right click, that's a big thing for me. The only thing I don't like about this one is I can't just tap. my 2 fingers to get it to right click. I have to actually press and click, and you see we have the right click there. No tap. Tap doesn't work. Got to press, and there it is. So that'll take a little getting used to. But overall, awesome. That's what I wanted. The screen's a little cheap looking. It's only a 2-cell battery, so it's not going to hold charge for long, depending on what you're doing. Anything making the fan run and taking too much power. However, you'll save a little bit of power if you swap in that solid-state drive instead of the spinning old-school hard drive. Probably save a little bit of power doing that. And it's going to run faster too. So highly recommend installing a solid state drive in the Lenovo IdeaPad 320 and 310, either one. 310 is easier to install, but I think they both benefit from it greatly. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave them below. I'm not on YouTube a lot. Checking my little videos is actually the first video I've put up in a real long time. So I might get around and comment to you guys. I may not. But go ahead and comment anyway. Somebody else might reply and help you out if you had a question. Alright. So that's my final review of the Black Friday Doorbuster Lenovo IdeaPad 320.